Yeah, look, it's prayer water cocoa. You can jump up on it now, you don't need the pogo. Yeah, we diving off, bitch, we about to splash. All up in the deep end, but we ain't up on a boat though. We gon' stir it up some similar to cake batter. Headed to the top, no skipping steps and no ladder. These questions ain't some shit up on the street. Can't just walk around and put the faith inside myself. Got to work, stop the doubt. Trying to change the world, you better change yourself first. Living my life to the fullest, no round trip ticket on that hearse. I'm a star, so I burst. Entrepreneur, I got merch. Put your back against the wall and I can show you what you worth. We go in, we get deep. TLC the way we creep. Need a mop, need a top, cause where we spilling all the tea. This that prayer water, cocoa, keep me right in it weather. On my way to the promised land, can we get that together? Yeah, look, prayer water, cocoa. You can jump up on it now, you don't need the photo. Yeah, we have it out, we about to splash. All up in the deep end, but we ain't up on the boat, no. We gon' stir it up some similar to cake batter. It's your boy Chaloy, and you already know what time it is, man. It is another episode of Prayer Water and Cocoa Butter, and we got another incredible segment of All Up in Your Business, but respectfully, with the incredible Harper Rose in the building. Harper, thank you so much for being here. It's so great to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You look amazing, even though we had a little incident where you almost broke into somebody's establishment outside. Harper went to the wrong place. I just came outside, saw a pair of white pants and a belt, trying to kick a door down. So Harper had that white woman dot going on at the door. Y'all should have seen her. Open up. Open the door. Joel, we had a podcast. Open up.
That's really embarrassing that you saw that, but...
Harper, you're at the cleaners. You're at the cleaners. Like, what are you doing? Oh my God, how you been, man?
I've been doing okay.
How long? It has been...
Almost 2 years.
At least since we've seen each other. Oh my God.
The last time we saw each other was at that, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was some bar downtown.
Ever since I met Harper, I thought Harper was a star. I think literally the first time. I always laugh about this story. I was at some show. There was a large contingent of people that I knew. Harper had her feet up on the couch, on her phone. I tried to touch her. She jerked away, said, "Get the hell off of me. Who are you?" She was with Audrey Stewart. I was like, who is this? What the hell is going on? But she just had this attitude and grace at the same time. I was like, I'm so confused, but I was intrigued. I was like, hey, check out my set. She was like, sure, if I have the time.
Shut up. No, I didn't. Shut up.
Playing. I asked you after the time if you had seen my set. You were like, hell no.
Shut the fuck up.
I didn't watch your set, but somehow we've remained cordial. You're an amazing person, a great talent. You've done some incredible things. Speaking of 2 years, what have you been doing for this 2-year period, Harper, where everybody's been traveling, rock climbing, breaking up with people, doing new things, getting into other industries? How about you? What the hell you been up to for almost 2 years?
Well, I've done a little bit of all that. So let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Going back to also when we first met, usually like I'm kind of shy. I feel like I'm like loud, so people don't understand that like I'm also shy. But like when I first met you, we instantly just clicked, and I was like, it was like instant friends. I honestly didn't start being productive during the pandemic until probably around this time last summer.
Did it take you some time?
Yeah, because for a second, I was like, grinding so hard and like right before the pandemic hit, and then like I had so many things like about to happen, and then I was like starting to perform on like bigger and bigger shows. I'm like, oh my God. And then the pandemic hit, and then I didn't really know what to do with myself. So then I just started doing a lot of drugs.
Right, absolutely. What were you partaking in? What was your
I did a bunch of acid and Molly. A little bit of shrooms, but I did But
let's get away. Right.
Yeah. A lot of my friends were like, well, why were you doing that in a pandemic? And then I was like, because you have to support small businesses.
Right.
But I would just do it like alone in my apartment or like with this person I was dating. And then like we would just get fucked up. And I did that for like months. And then finally I'm like, okay, this is not ending anytime soon.
Right.
But that relationship is. So here we go. So.
Did you have, now was this a pandemic relationship? It started, no, so it was prior to the pandemic.
We were off and on.
Okay. How long did you know this person before like the pandemic? So you'd known him for a little while.
The pandemic just kind of brought out the real. Huh?
Yeah. I think the pandemic for everyone just kind of like, because, so many people got married and then so many breakups happened. I think it just expedited whatever was going to become of those relationships.
What do you think was the deal with that particular relationship? Was it for you, Harper, a thing where you were like, what am I doing? This isn't really working. Or it was just like, how did the phasing
Wait,
out?
are you saying like, how did we break up?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Well, I caught him cheating on me.
Damn.
In the pandemic.
In the pandemic? Mm-hmm. You son of a bitch. What the? You greedy motherfucker.
No.
Only Harper is around. How are you cheating during the pandemic?
I know. Well, honestly, like I joke about it now. I'm like, wow, he really didn't want to die with me. But
Right, exactly.
a year ago, I was like, oh, he's evil. La, 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 la. But now I'm just kind of like, whatever. I think we were both like immature in different ways. And like, obviously that was shitty what he did. But I'm like, I wasn't perfect either. So
let me ask this, because we spoke about the fact of you being from North Carolina.
I used to live in San Diego from like 1st to 4th grade.
Okay.
Then lived in North Carolina for all of my formative years, and then moved out the second I graduated high school, came back here. And then all of my family's from California.
So that makes some sense then. Okay, I can see it. Because I'm like, how does a woman like you, Harper, like I said, as I let people know about our initial introduction when doing comedy, that you got a side.
I was probably drunk, so I am sorry for that.
You
Okay.
kept it together well. What was your initial reaction, and how did you get to the point now where you're like, hey, I did wrong too, boop, boop, boop. I mean, like
Therapy, because I don't know if like you're on Twitter or anything, but I was tweeting. Okay, well, this is good. So it was like a very immature way that I handled it, but I was like firing off tweets like the second that that we broke up, and I have like a decent following, so it was like I was just being kind of tacky, but I'm like, well, I'm hurt, so I can do whatever I want. Like I fucked his house up. Can I admit that? I don't know. But
that's what I wanted to hear. I was like, Harper, I know you from the South. I know he didn't just get away with this shit.
No,
Like,
he sure didn't.
Respect.
But I'm also like,
Respect.
I think that oftentimes like we like paint people as like, oh, they're evil, whatever. But I'm like, I think very few people are actually evil. I think a lot of people are just immature. I had to get into therapy because I was painting myself as like the victim. I'm like, I can't believe he would hurt me like that. And then my therapist is like, it seems like you like to play victim in all of your relationships. I'm like, okay, bitch, like what?
Bitch, I ain't here for this.
And I was like, I just need a therapist to talk about this breakup. And she's like, how are you and your mom? I'm like, what are you doing to me? But
that's so funny.
But she like kind of like turned turned a mirror on me. And then when I at first I was really reluctant because I'm like, no, he's the bad guy, not me. And she's like, seems like you have an ego problem. I'm like, well, maybe I do. But so then like, once we like attacked all that, then I don't know. I kind of also, because like when you walk around hating your ex, like it's hurting you. It's not hurting them. They're living their life. Like it's you who's suffering. And also when you have a lower vibration, you're going to attract people also with a low vibration. If you want to get hippie-ish, so I don't know.
Okay. Let's do
it. The
it.
matcha's hitting.
No, I already saw you with the matcha.
I'm like,
I said, oh God, here we fuck. Harper and one of the Lord have mercy. Saw the matcha green tea. I knew what time it was. I knew what time. Well, no, I applaud you for that, man, because, and I think that's been a thing with like prayer water and cocoa butter, and just how can you get out of where you're at and continue to elevate? I was a person, being from the South, being Black, I didn't really do too much with therapy as far as my surroundings, my upbringing, what I was around. It wasn't like it was just hated on. That just wasn't a thing that was a resource. Hey, this is going on. Let me look at this. And in all honesty, Harper, I remember being in college at Georgia State, and I was going through a period of depression. And I walked into like the office where you could, they had therapy or something on campus. This was like a 35,000 person school, huge school, great resources. And I remember they had asked me to like fill out all this personal information. And I was like, I got scared. I was like, no, fuck that. Somebody in 10 years when I want to be an actor, somebody's going to know that I came in for therapy. And it's just like, Jaloid, like if you would have maybe taken some of that approach back then, you probably wouldn't have had to go through some of the things that you've gone through. So I applaud you for that. How do you feel about the therapy now? Because obviously it brought up some things that you weren't even thinking about, or like, what I'm saying? You thought it was just about the boyfriend. Like, how do you feel
like this is all it is. I'm like, maybe I party too much, but it's okay.
Right.
And then she was like, so when you were 6 years old, what's your first memory? I'm like, ooh, it's not a good one. And she's like, all right. I'm like,
Right. But that's why a lot of people get scared, Harp.
It's
because
hard.
that's
It's
why a lot
hard,
of people, they don't want to get into therapy because they feel it's going to delve into some of these things. But it sounds like you feel that it helped you.
Well, I just was like, after, I'm not trying to like be like, I don't know, like a crybaby, like after failed relationship and failed relationship.
Be how you want to be.
Okay.
This is your platform.
Okay. Well, I just kind of like knew that there was something wrong because I'm like, I keep getting into like fucked up relationships. I kept dating like people with like severe addiction issues, and like maybe I have some myself. We don't know, but okay. But so and certain things that were echoed in my childhood were coming up in like every relationship I kept getting in. So I'm like, something's not right. But then I didn't really think to go deeper because like something that I learned in therapy is we often think of our childhood as like a separate version of ourselves, but like our childhood connects into our adult life,
100%.
and so like you have to mend that
100%.
if you want to have like healthy relationships
That's
and
true.
a balance, I think, to your life.
It's true. So as far as relationships are concerned, like, how do you feel about that now? Are you interested in dating? Or have you been taking a break? Have you found yourself kind of like maybe attracting or you being attracted to a different type of person?
Yes.
Or okay.
I'm definitely attracted to different types of people. I used to attract people that looked like weasels and acted like them as well. But no shade, no. But but now I definitely can, like, I don't have like the same type that I used to.
Yeah.
But I still think, because I feel like it took me so long to get this piece back. And also I was so codependent. Like I hadn't really been single since I was like a freshman in high school.
Got you. So
now.
you needed
I was
that
like,
relationship.
Yeah, so I needed to like have time. I've been single now for over a year, and so
Good for you.
all of my friends are like, "Okay, when are you gonna start dating?" And I'm like, I don't know. I really value my peace, but I also know that like I don't want to like wake up 5 years from now and be like, "Oh, it's just me and a couple cats. Gotta get out there,"
Right.
So
take your young damn time. I'm serious. And we joke around a lot. And like I said, I applaud you for being yourself. I applaud you for trying to get better. Your whatever it may be is coming. And see, we do that sometimes because it's hard to be in that alone period.
it is,
Isn't it, Harper? It feels like
it's very hard.
that alone period, that growth period, that I've been in that, and that is like the
it gets
craziest.
lonely too, because like also like a lot of your friends that like speaking for myself, like a lot of my friends that I considered to be like my best friends, but like they didn't really like they didn't join me on that journey. I guess that sounds like so cliche, but when I started like shifting my interests, my friend group kind of shifted as well.
Oh man,
and I wasn't prepared for that.
Ain't that real?
It was kind of like a second breakup, honestly.
Yes. The friend thing is that's so real. When you start to develop different thought processes and different habits and stuff like that, your friend circle is going to change because you're not interested in the same things. And it's like, some people can kind of respect that, like, oh, cool. But some people, it's almost like they get offended.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like Harper thinks she's better than us, or she can't come around, or she's not available, or something like that. But never limit your growth for anybody else. Like, you are an amazing woman. Amazing woman.
You better
Amazing.
stop.
Harper, I want to talk about your first kind of like comedy instance. I looked you up and I saw a couple of reports about your first time at the Comedy Store.
Oh,
Tell me.
my Lord.
I read up about you. Harper Rose, somebody yelled nice tits, and I ran off the stage in tears and didn't come back for 4 years. Is that true?
Yes. Okay. So I moved to LA when I was.
And whoever that brother was that was rude, disrespectful, and I want to get your Instagram so I can get your side of the story as well.
Oh my God. Well, I honestly haven't seen him around, so I think he gave up. So that's his punishment.
Right.
But okay. So I moved here when I was about 19.
Okay.
To LA, and I was interning at this company called Laugh Stub.
Okay.
Like very loosely. It was a short-lived experience.
Okay.
But because I was doing that, I was making friends with like a lot of comedians, and I was making friends with a lot of because like they handled like ticketing for comedy events.
Gotcha.
I really wanted to do stand-up. Like I
Yeah.
came here because I knew I wanted to do it. But at the
Okay.
time, I was painfully shy. Like it was dark. But I'm like, I know I want to do it. And so
Interesting.
then and I didn't really. at the time, I didn't really understand what a big deal this was. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, which I feel like really stupid about now. But I knew it was cool, but
That's
I didn't.
a big deal.
It is
big
a huge deal.
The Comedy
And I
Store
was
potluck is a huge opportunity.
so aggressively not ready. I'm looking back, I'm like, why the fuck would I do
That's
that for?
funny.
And I remember like standing outside, I'm like sweating and shaking. I'm like my eyes are like bugging, and she's like, all right, get up there. And then they call
With 3
me up.
minutes, right?
Yeah.
3 minutes.
But don't worry, I didn't last that long. So I get up there and I get one joke out. I wish I could remember my first joke. It was something about like it was like kind of tacky. It was like something about being from the South. So I was taught to respect my elders. So I don't know how to turn down old men out here. It was it was something like that. Whatever. So I get it out. It gets like 2 chuckles. Okay. And then that kind of like surprised me. And so I lost eye contact with my friend because I was just looking at my friend. So I lose eye contact. And then someone yells something out. It was either like, nice tits or like, blah, 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 I don't know. And then that just like startled me. So then I just stood there with the microphone, not speaking, and then put the microphone in the stand, get tears in my eyes, and run off the stage.
Stop.
Yeah, and then the host, I forget who the host was, but the host was like, no, get back up, like, stay.
Right.
I'm like, no. And I go and I run to the alleyway, and I just start crying. And
Lord,
I'm like, oh my
girl.
God, I'm so embarrassed. I
Wow.
was way too sensitive. And I just start crying. And then Brody Stevens, rest in peace,
Wow.
came out. I was like, don't worry, it's okay. Like,
Wow.
get
Are
back
you
up there.
serious?
Yeah, and then we met for coffee a couple times, and I still have the notebook. I filled up like an entire notebook from like 2 coffee dates.
Wow.
And not dates, but like 2 coffee meetups. And he gave me like the best advice, and I just wasn't ready to do stand-up then.
What was the advice that he gave you, Harper?
He gave me a lot, but some of the most important advice, he was like, don't worry about like trying to be like a cool comic. Don't worry about trying to like fit in. Don't worry about hanging out at the store. He was like, I love the Comedy Store, but you really gotta just find like whatever avenue works for you. And he was like, and whatever he's like, you gotta find your voice.
Yeah.
So he's like, do you know what your voice is? I'm like, no, I have no idea. And he's like, go out and live some more life, or get up on stage and just figure it out.
Yes.
And he's like, there's nothing I can tell you that it's going to like magically make you good at stand up. You have to just get up and you have to not quit. And you're going to bomb. That's what also another thing. He's like, it's going to be so uncomfortable and you can't run off stage. He's like, you're going to bomb to silence and you have to stay there. And I'm like, ooh. And so I wasn't ready for that. And then I like waited till I was like 24 to 24.
Wow. Before you got back on again.
Years.
That's an incredible story. I remember reading it about you, and I was like, man, I want to ask her about this, because a lot of times, Harper, I don't think people come back from that kind of break. That's like a 4-year break that you took. I don't think a lot of people are like, get the gumption or the willingness to like, you know what, I want to get back into this. That's like being an athlete or something. And like quitting back. Think about if you quit basketball from the ages of like 19 to 23. That typically doesn't happen. It
was very weird that it happened. But I mean, I knew in high school I wanted to do stand-up.
Yeah.
Like I didn't specifically know. I just knew I wanted to do comedy. And I would always watch stand-ups on YouTube and whatever. And my parents were always playing comedy specials. So I like grew up with it. And then when I came out and I failed, I was like, I'm also extremely stubborn. So I'm like, all right, I know that I'm too much of a pussy right now. Yeah. But I know that I'm going to come back.
I'm going to get there. That's awesome, man. Rest in peace to Brody Stevens, for sure. And that's amazing. You know, that's what life is about. You know, sad story. I had never heard of him, to be perfectly honest. And I saw a lot of people making posts and stuff like that, but I did my research to find out who the guy was. Looked some things up on YouTube, watched his comedy specials, did all of that.
He was so funny. Like I remember like before I even like got to meet, I was actually like starstruck when he came up to me, because I remember like watching all of his stuff, and I would see him on like Chelsea Lately's show, at Chelsea Handler's show. And but so it was just like amazing that like our paths ended up crossing like that. But he was so kind. He was like the nicest person.
Yeah,
and not awesome. Creepy, because like a lot of guys like would see me like around the Comedy Store, they'd be like, "Ew, get over it," you know, they'd be like all creepy. I'm like, I'm a child, but he was like there was like an innocence to him.
Oh my God, and I could see that. I could see that in the things that I kind of saw, and to be able to leave that kind of impact on somebody like yourself, who's still going, still pursuing, and I'm sure he probably touched a lot of people like that. You know, even though he had his own struggles and difficulties, but able to, you know, dispense some information before his unfortunate demise, that's incredible. So rest in peace to Brody Stevens. Harper, as far as once you kind of started to get back, once you kind of started to get back, what was your approach at that point? And where did you kind of start to find your voice as far as who I am, as far as a person on stage and just who I'm allowing people to see?
Well, okay. I know some comics can do this, and I'm honestly so jealous of them. I wish I could. Maybe one day I'll get there, but I cannot seem to write a good joke that's like not to sound like a narcissist, but like that's not about me. Like I realize that my best jokes come from like things that have directly impacted me.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like realized, through trial and error, a lot of error.
Yeah.
I kind of just realized the things that get the biggest laughs are the things that I'm like the most interested in, and which would be like when I got like I got like more life experience too. Cause like at 19, I know some people can start young and that's amazing. I'm jealous of them, but like I just wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
But like I got a lot of life experience in those 4 years.
Yes.
A lot of crazy things happened.
Yeah.
And then I started my health suffered. I got a DUI. I like all this craziness happened. So then I'm like, you know what? Like let me write about that. Like that's like. Let me see, like, who else can
You had some
relate.
actual material. You did some living. You went through some things and had some experiences like Brody was talking about. What were the health complications that you dealt with?
I got diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 21.
So explain to me exactly what that is, because I've heard, seizures, but what is that?
So basically, it's like when your brain, it's like, okay. What if I said, I don't know. No, okay. It's hard for me to like explain it in a scientific way.
Look it up.
But basically, it's like when your brain is trying to send signals to raise your hand, or when your body is trying to control your muscles or whatever, your neurons are firing, and the message that your brain's trying to send gets there's crossfires. And so I'm not explaining this well at all, and I feel really embarrassed.
That makes some sense. We'll have the definition of epilepsy.
Honestly, that's like another thing. I'm like, I wish I had like an illness that was easier to understand, because I'm like, what is it? I get seizures. Why do you get seizures?
I don't have a clue.
Just leave me alone. No, I'm just kidding. No, but but so basically, I just have a fucked up brain.
How do you control that? No. This is no. Make sure you turn that up. I want fucked up brain to have an echo behind it. When I already knew it. I didn't know it was epilepsy behind it, but
I already shut the fuck up. And now he's roasting me.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
She better be an epileptic, right? I deserve it. I deserve it.
Mentally ill girl. Okay.
Exactly. The diabetic over here attacking the girl with epilepsy. Like, how do you deal with that and manage to kind of, as a diabetic, a type 1 diabetic who has his own serious complications, and that's always something I kind of have to think about. How does that affect your day to day? And like, how now do you have to take medication? Do you still struggle with things? Can you have a seizure out of nowhere? Like,
I'm going to have one right now. No,
you son of a...
So watch out. No, so in my early 20s, that's also why I was so codependent. Because so not only did I get a DUI, after I got my DUI, I believe it was a year after, that's when I got diagnosed with epilepsy.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was supposed to just lose my license for a year, but then I ended up losing it forever. So I was like, okay, God really did not want me on the road.
You still don't?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is due to the epilepsy. Mm-hmm. So people who have epilepsy are not allowed to drive?
Or? Some people can, because there's medicine you can take.
Okay.
I've tried so many different medicines, but there's medicine that you can take that suppresses your seizures.
Okay.
And it's actually really similar to medicine that bipolar people take.
Okay.
Which I found out. I was like, okay. What's going on up in here? But so some of my friends that have epilepsy, they can drive. But one of my other friends, he actually can't drive, because so basically you have to go a year without having a seizure, like a grand mal seizure, which is like the biggest type of seizure you can have. Like, a grand mal means that essentially you're losing consciousness, I believe, and you're just passed out.
Okay.
You pee yourself when you have a grand mal.
Stop.
So
Have you done this?
I have in public. So
what in public? What happened?
So so when I first got diagnosed, I just kept fainting all the time, because I get seizures. Like everyone, there's 40 different types of, maybe over 40 different types of seizures that you can have.
Right.
And mine specifically are triggered by stress, heat, and exhaustion.
Wow.
And caffeine. So cheers. But
might want to change the covers on the seat cushions,
go.
Jimmy.
No,
we might
okay.
want to change the seat cushions after the Harper
No,
interview.
I do have depends on. No, but no, I'm just kidding. I was passing out all the time. I'm like, oh, I've always been kind of sick in the heat. So I'm like, I'm delicate.
Right.
And, but one time I believe I was at the Grove and I passed out and because I had a seizure, but I never knew because like I don't know that I'm shaking because I'm unconscious, and so then I I come to and everyone's like standing over me, and I look down and I've like completely pissed myself, and I'm like, okay, this is fucking embarrassing, and then at that point, that's when I'm like, okay, this is like that was like the most serious one I had ever had. I'm like, okay, something's going on with these fainting spells, and I'm going to doctor to doctor to doctor. No one knows what it is. Finally, this doctor's like, oh, there's something wrong with your heart, and we need to do heart surgery immediately. And so like I'm like all set up to have it. I'm 21 at this point. I'm like in and out of the hospital / the doctor's office every single month of like being 21, and I'm so stressed out. Then finally something. I think it was my mom. My mom has like witch-like intuition. She's like, we need to go get a second opinion. And so we do. And then, or like a fourth opinion. And this neurologist was like, oh, your heart's completely fine. Like I was wearing a heart monitor too. He's like, your heart's completely fine.
They was about to have you in heart surgery.
They were about to make me Frankenstein up in this bitch for a wrong fucking doctor.
Good God.
Yes. And then, but then he's like, no, you have epilepsy. And at first I didn't want to believe it. And I'm like, no, I don't. And so I was still like drinking and like going crazy. And he's like, so when you're drinking unmedicated, you are like assisting, with your seizures. I was like, okay. Wow. So then I had to like really like get it all together. But then I got on great medicine but I've never been able to go a complete year without having a grand mal seizure. So that's why I can't drive.
Wow. That's incredible, Harper. I never knew that. And it's amazing because you meet a lot of people, a lot of comedians. We were just talking about Brody Stevens who are able to make other people laugh and are going through their own complications and stuff like that. And like I said, I mean, this is why you just can't assume. You meet people and she's talented or funny and gorgeous and this and that. And it's like, all of these things come from a place. And I give you a lot of credit, not staying in the same place. Continuing no matter what's going on to find reasons to continue to live and to be your best self and to elevate, and taking the break that you take after being disrespected on stage, getting that advice from Brody Stevens, dealing with serious health complications and other struggles that you've done and gone through. There's clearly something in you that is continuing to press and say that you have a reason.
Mental illness. No.
right. Just like epilepsy. Look it up. I just told you.
No, thank you. I appreciate that.
Speaking of being honest, and I want to get to this, and please put your hands on me if you need to, if I get out of line with you over here. But I'd ask you if there was anything that you had a problem talking about, and you said no, Jaloid, no. And I've seen that you've kind of talked about this a little bit, and honestly, I've heard some jokes. I've actually brought you up before because I was speaking to another comedian about the topic of being able to talk about sexual assault in a funny way. And Harper, I think that is one of the things that, in all honesty, you may kind of be known a little bit for. I don't even want to get into the lame ass person that even inspired the story, but you have been very open and vocal about being sexually assaulted by someone that you knew. And not only somebody that you knew in the comedy circle. Me and you were kind of earlier talking about how we don't date comedians ourselves. And I don't know if that's something that could change or whatever. For you, dealing with a situation like that, Harper, I'm just interested in what it was that you learned and how you do not seem to have a hateful demeanor. Because I think that is something for a person like myself, and that's still something that I struggle with, to want to be vengeful.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I hated him for a lot because it was my former best friend's older brother who sexually assaulted me. Yeah. And it was really bad. I had to go to the hospital. But I hated him for a long time. Yeah. So my boyfriend at the time was the only person I'd ever slept with. Gotcha. And so I felt like robbed on like I felt like my humanity was robbed, my dignity. Sure. It was so dehumanizing for a number of reasons. Yeah. And then also like he took something special from me. That was like something like so, and even if like I had, like no one deserves that, it's absolutely, like, it's horrible. And like not to get like too dark, but like I did want to die. Like, and then I had to take another break from comedy because I couldn't get on stage and like, I just felt like I wasn't being truthful because I just had this like searing pain that was
Yeah.
just, I feel like I couldn't hide it. I just like, I kind of like was like lost for a little bit. And my family was incredible. I ended up losing that friend. It was really, really hard.
Yeah.
But the thing that actually got me back was, again, another rest in peace situation. But this comedian, his name was Big Mike. He used to run a show at the Ice House.
Okay.
And he just lit up a room. He was so funny, such a kind person.
Okay.
And we didn't even know each other that well. We just knew each other from doing stand-up. But I had taken probably about 5 months off, and he texted me and he goes, Harper, you need to come. He's like, you need to come do my show in like 2 weeks. You need to come do it. Like, I heard you're not doing shows right now. What's up? And then I just was like, and again, I don't really even know him that well.
Did he know about your situation?
No one knew at this point.
Wow. Okay.
So then he was one of the first people outside of my immediate circle that I told. And again, this is just like me not having a boundary. I was like in like a haze of depression. But I texted him and I was like, listen, Big Mike, I was sexually assaulted. I don't want to get on stage. And he goes, oh, you got to get on stage. He's like, come back. He's like, it's going to heal you. And I wasn't listening to my parents. I was listening to my best friends, my boyfriend at the time, nothing, myself even. But that text message saved my life.
Wow.
I'm getting emotional. Yeah.
Wow.
It was really
That's
sweet.
awesome. No,
Yeah.
girl, you better drink that matcha. We ain't here for that. We are not
was
here for
just
that.
really
This is a
sweet.
celebration. You listen, Harper, look, and this is what I tell you, man. This is what the show is about. And I only try to talk to people like yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're just an exuberant, I guess I clearly met you at a time when obviously you had gone through some of these things.
You met me in a good place. I was in a good place.
I
and
did.
I'm still in a good place now. I just got
Yeah.
emotional because like Big Mike, he passed away, I believe during the pandemic, and that just like made me sad.
But you're here. You're here to carry on. Brody Stevens, the messages that he passed down, Big Mike. That is what people are there for. Hopefully to leave some type of word to encourage somebody else and leave them with something. Harper, this story that you're telling is going to help somebody else. I know you've been on stage, but your vulnerability, you're being real as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And this is the thing, as a man, I don't know. Like, I hate that shit. Like, I hate like seeing men in Congress argue over abortion bills and shit like that. Like, what the fuck? Like, shut your ass up. Like, it don't have shit to do with you, nigga. Like, no man should be arguing about the abortion bill. You know, this is about, so you being a woman and me trying to like understand, and I'd read that this kind of happened around somewhat almost preceding or right around the beginning of the Me Too movement.
It was very close by that. Yeah.
I kind of read about, you know what I'm saying, around that time. So your story being so impactful, you know, whether or not anybody comes up to you or not, Harper, you've helped somebody, hopefully, to be able to get somebody prosecuted, or even if they don't feel better about themselves, continue to move on, get back on stage, go to their job, be intimate with their husband or their relationship or whatever, continue moving forward.
I think that's a really important thing.
Shout out to Big Mike.
Yeah, shout out to
Rest
both
in
of them.
peace to Big Mike.
But I think for everyone, like whether you've gone through something as like horrific as sexual assault,
Yeah.
or you know what, even if someone cuts you off in traffic, like you can't like let these fucking things like. And I know that's like such like a, you know, a surface level whatever, but like I know some of my friends will like complain about, you know, certain things, and I do it too. But
Yeah.
I'm like, you have to keep pushing forward.
Absolutely.
And that's also why I don't. I hated my rapist for a long time, and like I was kind of thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I feel kind of weird, but I really have no hate towards him.
Wow.
Like it took a lot of therapy, a lot of whatever, a lot of crying, but I'm like, I really don't hate, because it's like in order to do something that putrid and evil to someone. Like, think about how much you have to hate yourself.
Absolutely.
Think about how small you have to be. You are not a man at that point. You are just like a small little thing.
Well, and we know that. Because any real man, you know, I'm from the South as well. And listen, I tell you what, any real man enjoys the pursuit. Any real man enjoys being able to present who they are. That's the old school. That's how men and women came about. Listen, I got a piece of meat with a stick and a spear over here. Girl, is you feeling that?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You talk to a person, dialogue, interaction, smell, scent, boop, 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 let's talk.
Yeah.
But I love that though, because we were talking about that earlier. Fuck the hate. Harper, I'm not gonna give you any more of my fucking energy. I'm over here getting million views on YouTube, and I'm over here, you know, doing comedy shows and continuing to work and prosper. We were talking about some of the different things that you were working on, projects that you're trying to sell to networks and those different things. I don't have time to hate your bitch ass.
I don't.
I don't have
really
time for that.
I don't.
Now, Jaloid can. Jaloid can. You may not have the time, but Jaloid can. You know, don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. I got all the hate for the both of us. I got all the hate for the both of us. But no, I respect you, applaud you so much, and got real love, Harp, for the person that you are, the person that you're inspiring a lot of other people to be. I commend you for that, because to be perfectly honest, I don't know if I could have your same demeanor, mentality, and reaction. So clearly here for a reason. Speaking of being here for a reason, and we kind of get into that, Harper, what do you do a lot of things, sketches, comedy, acting. Like what is your goal? Like what do you want to do? You want to be like, you know, the best stand-up comedian? Do you want to be, you know, like, what is your focus with entertainment?
My focus right now is I have a few, I can't talk about it on here, but I have a few projects I want to get off the ground.
Turn on.
That are produced by me, like have my friends in them, and what basically I have like a few creative projects that I'm trying to get off the ground. But honestly, like long term, I would love to have my own show, like my own TV show. I would love, like, I have scripts written. I'm just like ready for this. Like that's awesome. I want to get into like more like the film side. I want to like tour internationally with stand up.
Got you.
I would love to do a special in another language.
Really?
In Spanish.
Okay. Do you speak Spanish?
Not well. Delusional confidence. I'm like, but I will.
Right.
But I will.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love it. Respect the Harbor. That's crazy, man. For me, prayer water and cocoa butter. For you, Harper, man, I heard you kind of mention family and a few other things. Clearly, you've had something innate and an outside support system and things that have kept you going. What are the things that you feel? And I was going to say besides therapy, but just period. What are the things that you feel, Harper, have allowed you to have your fucking mentality? Yes,
Friends
Big Mike, Brody.
Friends and family.
Wow.
God, friends and family.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's funny too, because I used to not even be religious, and I think it's like growing. I like went the other way with growing up in the South. Like I was like, fuck that. I like got like, you know, I was like, you guys were all sheep. Fuck you.
Yeah,
you know, like But I think honestly, all it takes, you just gotta find what traumatic experience fits right for you. It's like the Cinderella of trauma, and then you're and I do believe now.
Yes,
okay, yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
But my friends and family like have saved my life multiple times, and like, you know, my family are like my best friends as well.
That's
We're
awesome.
very, very close.
What's your family setup? How many siblings?
I got one younger brother. He lives a mile away from me.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and then mom and dad.
Okay, are they in North Carolina?
No, they live like an hour south of LA.
Okay, cool. So just, I heard you kind of talking about them earlier. Just your biggest fans. Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Because they're creatives too.
Okay.
They're, like, different. They're writers, but not for like in an entertainment. But they met because they were journalists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome to have. You know, I know for me how big my family is and how much I realize that is a blessing.
You're close.
We're super close.
I love that.
Super close. So listening to you talk about that, I had a lot of friends that didn't have that situation, and sometimes you complain. You know, like Harper, I was bartending at a sex club last night, and I got to lead Bible study today.
Yeah, you do what you have to do.
So you do what you had. James 3, you know, so it's, I mean, you got to pay the bills. You got to pay the bills.
Where is this club?
Right, right. Look at you. Joanne, I got a little bit of Molly left in my, where's it? Look, no, I was in Hollywood straight up. You work. Like, I'm a worker. Like, I'm not there. And it's so funny. Like, my boss is like, he's always like, hey, listen, if you need to take 5 and fuck something, you know, I can take over the bar.
Oh, my heavens.
Paco, I'm not here for that. I'm here to work. You're already late with my payment from last week. So, but listen, I mean, you got to work. You got to do what it is that you got to do. Jaloid don't be there for all that foolishness. Now, I'll take a peek. I'll damn sure take a peek. I will damn sure take. You should see the people that be coming up in there, Harper. It is crazy.
And this is in Hollywood, yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Like right off the boulevard?
Oh my God. Oh my damn. You been see. No. Harper, I'm not going there with you. Harper, I'm not going there. Harper, I'm not going there with you. Stop it. Listen, you know what? This is a great time to end it. This is a great time to end the goddamn interview because you're trying to clown. You're trying to clown and embarrass me on prayer water and cocoa butter. That's it. We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it.
So I'll take that as a yes.
Right, exactly, right. Right by the 7-Eleven, right? Yeah. Right, I know where you're at, Jalotte. I know exactly where you're at. That damn matcha tea. If people are interested in keeping up with you, Harper, where can they find you? What is the best way to keep up with Harper Rose?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on, wow, I can't even speak. Okay, what is happening? You know, it's the matcha. Here we go. What if I just, okay, and this actually is a seizure.
All right.
So, okay, no, all right.
Grandma, here we go.
And cut it out. No, okay. No, all my socials are Harper Rose D.
Awesome.
And all lowercase.
Awesome.
And that's right. I post all my show dates on Instagram. And then I have my own podcast called The Clowncast.
Yes.
And then that's on Twitter and Instagram at just The Clowncast.
Listen, please keep up with Harper Rose, man. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy, Jaloid. Keep up with Prayer Water and Cocoa Butter. We're on Anchor, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever you can find podcasts. Harper, once again, I appreciate you. I wish you the best for the rest of this year, for the rest of your career. Continue inspiring. Continue being the people like Brody Stevens and Big Mike were to you. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a powerful story.
Oh my God, stop. I'm just an ass clown.
You gotta
with a loud laugh.
I mean, you can still have a powerful story and be an ass clown, Harper, at the same time. You damn sure an ass clown. But you got an amazing story. So we appreciate you so much, man, and love you. Thank you so much, bro. Turn up. Look what it do, just telling the truth. Yo, mama getting jiggy, we raising the roof. Do my little dance, get paid in advance. I'm a cheap bastard, but splurging the booth. Look what it do. 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 Look, baby, who knew? We're like a dog watching dreams come true. Raising at Houston, Cadillacs cruising, South riding red and the North Candy blue. Baby, I'm blessed, no sneeze, I high shoot. Been dating a little Asia, bro, her eye cool. I like them thick, but I'm more concerned if you loyal, cause you need your heart to be true. Not a Boy Scout, but staying prepared, not a piece of meat. Have some respect when you stare. Do what I do, keep everything moving. They want electric all up in my chair. I'm off the chain with no leash. Top 5, and that's just at least. Could've told, but no, I'll never speak. Groundhog Flow got this bitch on repeat. Look what it do, just telling the truth. Yo, mama getting jiggy, we raising the roof. Do my little dance, get paid in advance. I'm a cheap bastard, but splurging the booth. Look what it do. 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 No, ma'am, I don't sip codeine, but this kush so call it bedtime. Had epiphany that it was in me the whole time. Ain't here to flex it all, man. Little shit, look, let me quit. This what it do, but you already knew. Hot as the Cheeto and cold as the flu. She digging your boy. Digging your boy. She fucking with you. She fucking with you. Researching myself. Researching myself. Can't trust all the news. Can't trust all the news. This slapping like violence. Slapping like violence. I need me a rider. I need me a ride. Ain't in the withdrawal. Ain't in the withdrawal. I'm making deposits. I'm making deposits.